Hey guys, sorry, I cut off the last video. I hit the wrong button. Instead of hitting stop screen share, I hit stop broadcast. I wasn't gonna do Q&A, but figured what the hell. Important day. So give me 1 second, then I'll start looking at your questions. What's going on? Now my keyboard is doing something weird. Man, I can't wait till a new computer gets here in the mail, along with my miner. All right, I got my tagline up. Let's close that. Let's move that over. Let me take a look at your questions. Well, the other chat closed, so just hopefully everyone will get back in here. I already see 64 viewers. Good. I mean, if there's less people, let me open the chat. Hold on, I don't have the chat open yet. All right, I got the chat open. All right, let's see what we got on questions here. Who is involved in programming SegWit2x? I mean, Gregory Mack. Sorry, God, what am I? I'm an idiot. No, definitely nobody from Blockstream. Nobody from Core. I believe Jeff Garzik is taking the lead on it, and I am not happy with anything Jeff Garzik has been doing lately. If you look at Jeff Garzik's early work, he was all about Bitcoin being a settlement layer. He was all against, all this nonsense, and he has completely flipped. So Jeff Garzik is the lead on programming SegWit2x, and Jeff Garzik is not a core Bitcoin at programming core anymore because his views didn't really align with what needed to be done. So therefore, he's the lead. I don't know who else is programming it. There are multiple articles. I mean, I don't like the fact that GBTC is involved. I mean, they got their hands. I mean, there's just, look, everyone always yells about Goldman Sachs and how they're like the octopus squid with their tentacles everywhere. GBTC has their tentacles everywhere. Bitcoin.com has their tentacles everywhere. And both of them are huge media outlets. That's why I don't trust any articles on CoinDesk. I just don't trust them. They're not an independent media, in my opinion. I just got quoted there the other day, so it's nice. At least some of the writers there at least reach out to people like me, people like Krista Rose, some of the other skeptics. At least they reach out to us every now and then for comments, which may give them a little bit of credibility, tiny bit of credibility. Okay, I do not give credibility to them. I only like unbiased media. Okay. Again, a little more of the reasons why I like articles by Kyle Torpy. I like articles by Aaron. I find them to be way more, neutral. I find them to be way more credible as journalists. But I don't like the fact how CoinDesk is owned by Digital Currency Group. I just don't. Okay. All right. I have 120 viewers, not the 350 that I left the other video with, but that's okay. All right. Yeah, not my house, guys. Not my house. Not my little apartment. But it's too nice this weekend, so I'm doing a little house sitting here. So I'm jumping right in the pool the moment I get off the video with you guys. I was already in the pool right before. I got a towel right here. Okay. Going right back in the pool. All right, let's see more questions. wouldn't Bitcoin value risk get drawn down together with the coming Ethereum and the ICO crash? Okay, here's the thing, right? Bitcoin, guys, we screwed up, okay? I mean, if all we needed was SegWit. All we needed was SegWit. This Ethereum nonsense last week would have drove all of these speculators into Bitcoin. But because, everyone still wants to hard fork Bitcoin and turn it into, two different Bitcoins, Bitcoin couldn't take all of the speculation. They couldn't take all of the nonsense from Ethereum into Bitcoin. But yeah, well, once Ethereum gets exposed for the nonsense that it is, if Bitcoin is, scaling with SegWit and Lightning, we should get all of their users. We should get all of their speculators. They should all come back to Bitcoin. All right, next question. I follow you and know your views on all coins. If the altcoin market crashed for any reason, wouldn't Bitcoin and Litecoin both benefit from that? Only if Bitcoin and Litecoin are technologically capable of dealing with the inflow of the value and the speculation, right? So only if, these bad actors that have been trying to fork Bitcoin and kick out Core the last 2 years, if we can finally start ignoring them, if they cannot have this kind of influence, then yes, then Bitcoin would be a huge beneficiary. But right now, with our own problems going into August 1st, people are scared of Bitcoin. And if the altcoins crash, people might just go back to the US dollar. People might go to gold. They may not have the confidence in Bitcoin to get back into Bitcoin. Okay. Also, check out the tweet that I have at the pin to my Twitter profile. It's it talks about confidence. Everything's confidence, guys. All right, next. Yeah, please start with the word question or my name so that it's easy for me to spot. If you do @ToneVase or some kind of capital word question, because there's a lot in the chat. Absolutely no core supports the new plan. Correct. It's too dangerous. Look, I'm really starting to get frustrated by people that keep saying, if only core supported SegWit2x, there wouldn't be any problem. You're a fool. Anyone who says that is a fool. Core has no control. All Core does is provide their professional opinion. It's like saying to a group of doctors, if only you believed in the cure for cancer, we would have a cure for cancer. It's just so dumb. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Okay? Core developers will not support SegWit2x if they don't believe that it's safe, if they don't believe that it's doable. How do you expect a professional person to say that? It's like you're talking to an engineer. Well, maybe we should build a bridge this way. And you're like, well, no, it's not safe that way. But why don't you compromise? Why aren't you compromising? We don't have this kind of patience. We don't have 2 years to build this bridge. We need this bridge in 6 months. Can't you compromise? Can't we build? Well, no, it takes 2 years to build the bridge. Otherwise, it's going to collapse and the cars are going to fall through it. No, that's irrelevant. You need to compromise. You need to compromise on the spec of the bridge. We need it built in 6 months. Let's build it with this new cement. It'll be fine. Like, well, no, it won't. We know it won't. We know it doesn't work. This other bridge used this cement and it split into, and it fell, and we now have 2 bridges. No, but we can do it. Well, like this is the retarded argument. Like it's so hard to deal with. It's insane. It's honestly driving me mad at this point that people are like, well, core developers need to compromise. You can't compromise on your knowledge of a certain situation. It's either you know what you're talking about, or you say, I don't care. Do it, but you're not going to get my blessing, and you're going to cause a bunch of crap. And I will have no respect for our core developers if they compromised on this issue, and I would leave Bitcoin. And there are people that are way more important to Bitcoin than me that would do the same. Trust me. Okay. All right, let's move on. First sign of SegWit being locked in. The price of Bitcoin above 3,500. First sign of SegWit being locked in. Because remember, right? I was talking about a huge price of Bitcoin going into the confrontation of August 1st and people taking their Bitcoin off of exchanges. But because of the user-activated soft fork. The SegWit2x plan takes the confrontation of August 1st off the table. So that means if we know SegWit is coming, no one has to take their Bitcoin off exchanges. It's not dangerous anymore. Therefore, you don't need to take your coins off exchanges. So the contracted supply of Bitcoin will not be the driver for the higher price of Bitcoin. At this point, the higher price of Bitcoin is going to be confidence that Bitcoin is getting SegWit. Price above 3,500 will guarantee SegWit. Speculators in Bitcoin are not that dumb. Speculators and ICOs are at this point, but not in Bitcoin. The stupid has migrated over. Will we know by next week what the scaling is headed? By end of next week, we should have a lot more clarity. I'm sorry, not end of next week. In 2 weeks from now. By end of next week, we may not yet have clarity. By end of next week, we may have clarity on the longer-term chart where the price is headed. But we need 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks from today. 2 weeks from today, on August 11th, we should have insane amount of clarity on SegWit. All right, let's move on. What would you do if you had 500 Bitcoins right now? To be honest, I'd probably keep doing what I'm doing right now, and then I will take like September and October off and sell a bunch of Bitcoin. The moment I wouldn't change. Like if I had I'll up that. Like if I had 1,000 Bitcoin in my wallet right now, I would not do anything. I would do exactly what I'm doing, but after SegWit got in, the moment I actually thought that 2 megabyte blocks were possible, I would probably sell half my Bitcoin. But we'll get to that bridge in about, I would say, 6 weeks. In 6 to 8 weeks, if the drums on 2 megabytes started beating and I was sitting on over 500 Bitcoin, I would sell, I would take my profit, I would pay off my apartment, I would load up my traditional trading account with a few $100 grand, and I would focus on traditional trading. I would drop my Bitcoin position to at least 50%. If I had remember, I don't have 500 Bitcoin, right? So because I don't have 500 Bitcoin, my actual situation on it is very different. But if I had over 500 Bitcoin, that's what I would be doing. But that's a very good question. Ask me that question again in about 3 to 4 weeks. I may change my stand. As of right now, I would do nothing with that. I would hold through it. If Bitcoin hit $4,000 to $5,000 after SegWit, I would take profit. I would pay off my debts. I would, anyway, I think you get the point. I don't want to repeat myself. All right, let's move on. Do you already know what you are going to speak about in Prague at Hackers Congress? Oop. I have an idea. It'll probably be my Bitcoin bubbles, my Bitcoin speculation presentation. So if you go to my website, Liberty Life Trail, and you do a search for Bitcoin speculation or La Bitcoin Conf, I did this presentation in November of last year. It's a little outdated. It's been updated. And I will focus a lot on the elimination of cash by the governments. I think it's very relevant now. All right, let's move on. Oops. All right, next question. Should exchanges change the selling to bits instead? Okay, so I've addressed the bits question several times. I'll make it very, very brief. I don't mind changing the Bitcoin numeration from Bitcoin to bits, but I believe that people struggle. You know what? Can you guys see me? Because I know my screen is kind of light, but anyway, let's do this. People struggle thinking beyond 1 penny. People struggle thinking beyond 2 numbers to the right of the decimal place. Once Bitcoin is stable above $10,000, I will be very, very, I will be helping drive the movement to talking about Bitcoin in bits, because then once 1 bit is worth 1 penny, I am on board with the bits angle of numeration. Okay, that's my answer. What do you think about Vitalik? You know what? I discussed Vitalik and Putin on different videos. I don't think Vitalik is this great genius. I really, really don't. I think there's going to be a huge game, political game that's going to be played. I think life of Vitalik is going to end badly, and maybe he should have look. If Vitalik would have pulled a Satoshi, Ethereum would have never made it. Vitalik had to use his status to continue building Ethereum, and I think in 10 years he will realize that was potentially a bad idea. All right, let's move on. Since SegWit is already activated on Litecoin, why are we still not seeing any significant utilization of it so far? I understand that progress is being made, but it's ready to use. Okay, guys, look, I know that a lot of you are sitting on Litecoin, and I know that a lot of you want to be rich. That's not how the world works. If Bitcoin goes away and Litecoin becomes what Bitcoin should have been, blockchains have failed. It failed. Litecoin will never be the store of value Bitcoin has a chance to be. If it's so easy for everyone to migrate from Bitcoin to Litecoin, then it will be even easier to migrate from Litecoin to whatever, Monero, to Dash, to Ethereum, to anything. Look, it has to be Bitcoin. They have the smartest group of developers programming it. Litecoin is using Bitcoin's technology. The fact that Litecoin is ready is irrelevant. It has to be Bitcoin, or it doesn't work. Or it doesn't work. Or you need a new Satoshi Nakamoto with a whole new technology set. It doesn't work this way. I keep trying to explain it to people, and everyone just wants to be rich off their Litecoin. All right, next. Who wants a centralized Bitcoin? When you have enough money, the only thing left is power. Lots of people want a centralized Bitcoin. Like I said earlier in my in the actual analysis video, Bitcoin.com and GBTC have their hands on every facet of Bitcoin. They want to control development. They want to control the news. They want to control mining. They want to control wallets. They want to control exchanges, right? Want to control everything. That's centralization, folks. That's centralization, folks. The price will fall. Of course it'll fall, but it doesn't matter, right? If you have power, like the richest person in a communist country is the king. He doesn't give a shit if the economy sucks. He doesn't give a shit if his people suffer. All he cares is that he's rich and powerful, right? That's how all communist dictatorships work, right? The rich get richer. You're projecting your, what's best for society and to people that at an eventual point only care about money and power. All right. I fully believe that Bitcoin would be between $5,000 and $10,000 today if we would have gotten SegWit 9 months ago, 6 months ago, when it first came out. If the Bitcoin ecosystem would have immediately gotten SegWit, we would probably be testing Lightning Network already. We would probably have Lightning channels within 6 months from today. Going into next year, we would have fully developed Lightning channels. This ICO altcoin bubble, this Ethereum flippening bullshit, this Dash nonsense, all this altcoin nonsense, I think all of that would have been suppressed. I think so much more money would have gotten into Bitcoin and not all of these shit coins. If only the moment SegWit was ready for signaling, the miners would have signaled it. These miners could be mining $5,000 to $6,000 Bitcoin, but they don't care. They only care that they have this ASIC boost advantage. They only care that they're beating the competition. Look, so it gets to a point where it's not whether you make more money and sitting near the top of the market. You got to be the only one in the market. And people still haven't realized that Bitcoin is the great equalizer, and it will find a way. And anyway, Bitmain's dominance will not last, trust me. There'll come a time where there'll be no more Bitmain because no one will ever trust them again, ever. All right, let's move on with the questions. Tone, could the Ethereum flash crash expose how the books are when traders with volume could short? We all knew this. Come on, I've talked about this for years. Those that have been watching me for a long time have seen me talk about this for years. These exchanges are amateurish. The books are very thin. Blockstream is developing their Liquid project, which should help a lot with the books. But God, I hope they don't open that project up to the Ethereum scam. Next. Of the crypto journalists out there, who do you consider the most trustworthy and knowledgeable? Aaron and Kyle. Aaron and Kyle are my two favorite journalists in the space. Alyssa Harding does a decent job. Other than that, I'll tell you who not to read. Don't read Laura Shin of Forbes. She knows nothing. And I'm not a fan. There's, maybe I'll put together my list of, I'm personally not a fan of Stan Hudgens of CoinDesk. Look, yeah, but Aaron and Kyle, just read Aaron and Kyle. They're the best two journalists in the space. All right, next. Why does a miner who mines empty blocks want 2 megabyte blocks? I've talked about this for a long time. A miner who mines empty blocks is probably the miner that's most interested in 8 megabyte blocks. And the answer is very simple. The bigger the block, the less decentralized Bitcoin is. The bigger the block, the longer the block propagation time. Okay, so right. So you answered your own question. Who the person asked the question. If the blocks are bigger, then someone might actually mine a bigger block. It takes longer for the bigger block to move throughout the world. And other miners need to verify the other block. Miners that don't care about the Bitcoin ecosystem immediately start mining the following block without validating the previous block. And if they are able to find the block earlier, they have an advantage. But they can't put any transactions into that block because the previous block has not yet been validated. So the bigger the block, the bigger the scam miner has of mining an empty block and getting the mining reward with absolutely zero benefit to the Bitcoin network. And this is why you can't trust these miners. And this is why we have core developers that don't give a shit what the miners want. They're programming what's best for the majority of the users. Guys, core developers work for us. Miners don't. Miners work for themselves. That's why I will go wherever the core developers go, unless the core developers go to another altcoin. If the core developers go to an altcoin, I will no longer respect the core developers, and I will call them scammers. I need them to keep fighting for Bitcoin and to just fight for the rest of us. Ethereum has infinite supply. Infinite supply is somewhat irrelevant. I've talked about this on other occasions. If I had to list all the things I hate about Ethereum, them having slight infinite inflation will probably be number 11. I'm sure I can come up with 10 shittier things for Ethereum than them having infinite inflation, but I see why that matters to a lot of people. All right, let's look for more questions. I only got about 5 more minutes, guys. And then head over to the World Crypto Network and check out Vortex's show. Let's see how many questions I can get in here. Why is it a problem if Bitcoin splits? I'm not even going to entertain that question. I don't want to entertain dumb question, guys. It's a terrible question. I'm not even entertaining it. Please educate about what Bitcoin stands for and then come back to watch my videos. I'll answer it this way. You know what? I will answer this question because maybe a lot of people are. Anyway, why is it a problem with Bitcoin splits? People can take their money out of one and put it in the other. Okay, here's why, right? If Bitcoin splitting into two was a good thing, then Bitcoin splitting into two every day is also a good thing, right? I mean, it splits into two. You have double your coins, right? So why not split Bitcoin every day? And then at the end of the year, you will have 2 to the power 365 different Bitcoins to choose from. And you'll be very rich because you'll have Bitcoin on all 2 to the power 365 chain. Okay? I'm sorry, Joe. Your question is incredibly dumb. And I hate the fact that I even had to entertain it. All right, let's move on. I am going to take a vacation. I'm going to take a Europe vacation. Though it will be Bitcoin related. I'm going to speak at all these events. In September, I'm going to head out to Europe. I'm going to try to speak at a meetup in Germany, probably Munich. I'm going to try and speak at a meetup in Switzerland, either I think it's Zeg or somewhere else. Copenhagen. No, I may not go there. I'm going to try to speak at a meetup in Milan, and then I'm going to close out my trip in Prague. And I'll try and go out to California. Maybe I'll spend a week there, but I definitely need a vacation. This has been a very frustrating experience. If SegWit is locked in before August, is that the end of a 2 megabyte hard fork? No, of course not. The drum beats are going to start. We'll talk about it when we get there. Do I think the market has come to a standstill because everyone is waiting to see what Bitcoin is going to do? Yeah, kinda. Kinda. Is there a specific reason why you wrote SegWit2x? No, I just misspelled it. I was just typing fast. I'll change the title of the video. Um, yeah, I'll change the title of the video. I didn't even know until you just told me. All right, I got a few more questions, then I'm going to close it off. What's up with Lightning on Litecoin? I don't know. Maybe someone's testing it. I'm not. I'm worried about SegWit, guys. I'll deal with Lightning news after SegWit is on Bitcoin. I'm not paying attention to any news of Lightning on Litecoin. Okay, someone is asking me if my miner arrived. Okay, so I had a miner. So people that ordered the Avalon miner from Canon have already gotten their miners. So company is delivering their miners. I had a slight shipping complication that is going to be unrelated to you guys. The company was also sending me the power supply along with my miner, and it got stuck somewhere because I guess the shipping company had a problem moving the order on through the shipping process because of the power supply. So it now needs to be resent to me without the power supply, and I need to buy the power supply from Amazon on my own here in America, right? So I ran into a minor shipping complication because of the power supply included in the order. It's my luck, guys. This is why I don't trade directionally. This is why. Just like I bought my computer during the 2 days and missed a 30% discount for my computer, which could have saved me like $1,000. Okay, I just have like the worst luck, which is why I try to just do videos. I do consulting. Everyone that has consulting on trading, consulting on pretty much anything, charting, my clients have done amazingly well. Like they all come back to me like raving that their trades worked out amazingly, and they are dumbfounded why I did not even do the trades I kind of recommended to them. And my answer is, if I do that same trade, you will then call me up cursing me because it'll crash everything. So I don't trade directionally. My trading season is going to start in a couple of weeks. I trade direction, neutral, arbitrage, spread trading. Nothing can go wrong there as long as I stick to my rules, and it keeps everybody happy. I have the worst luck with many, many things. Okay, probably why I've never been a millionaire in my life. My business investments also have not worked out very well. I still have, physical businesses that are, they're making money, not enough money to make me rich, but enough money for me not to shut it down and drop it into a loss column. So it's kind of been it's kind of the way I live my life. So, but it keeps me busy. I'll tell you that, and exciting. I'll tell you that much right now. Where do I see Bitcoin before August 1st? I don't, guys. I'm taking this one day at a time. I can't predict these things. My August 11th date is still critical. I'll write an article about that. Started updating my website finally. Do you think nude? NEWD, I don't know what that means. Maybe it means now. I don't know. Do you think now the new European laws going into effect tomorrow that take Bitcoin businesses have to collect more KYC and to affect the price? No. I think it'll just, make Bitcoin peer-to-peer again, which is great. Don't use Genesis mining, guys. Someone commented. Though, don't use it, please. Do I subscribe to Martin Armstrong bullish stance on U.S. equities? Yes, I do. That's not why. Armstrong is not bullish on equities because the Fed will print into infinity. He's bullish on equities because money is going to start to leave bonds, and I agree with him 100%. All right, guys, on this note, I'm going to call it a day. Please check out Vortex's Bitcoin news show on the World Crypto Network. I believe it starts in 3 minutes. Thank you very much for tuning in. I closed this one with 230 live viewers, and it's time for me to jump in the pool and cool off. Kind of hot here in New York. See you all soon. Bye, guys.